Record? Yep. Okay. So I introduced a couple of error messages, right? There we go. So let's go ahead and get our error dealio in here. We already have an error message somewhere, don't we? This guy? Steal him. Put it here. And we'll drop it right in there. Perfect. And let's go this route. And we'll go here. Error TV. Alright, and let's go ahead and in view did load, let's have that error message be invisible. Error TV dot hidden is equal to true, so we don't see it. And then in here, here's our do error message stuff. So we'll say error TV dot text is equal to message. And for some reason the color comes off of it. Text color is equal to UI color dot red color. And return false. Otherwise, we'll get rid of our error message. We also want to say error TV dot hidden is equal to false. We want to show the error message. We don't need to do anything with the color here. Error TV dot hidden is equal to true. If we don't have an error message, let's hide the guy. Okay, so that's our validate form function. So now we'll come into the update button pressed. And this is where our profile stuff will live. So if our form has been effectively validated, and let's actually just test that real quick before we actually go and save anything. Alright, so we'll go to settings, update, must enter a first name, update, must enter a last name, update, street, that's where I live. You gotta guess the city. Well, you don't have to guess for long. Must enter city, state, zip. Alright, so seems to be happy validating the form. We don't need a second street. This would be like apartment 5, that kind of stuff. Okay, so now let's go ahead and save to Firebase. So we're going to go to profile, and then it's our user ID, right? So we'll go ahead and say let ref equal core dot Firebase ref dot child by appending path profile dot child by appending path core dot Firebase ref dot auth data dot UID. All right, and then we need to build a dictionary out of this stuff. So we'll say var dictionary is equal to a string in the object. And then we need to say city, whatever. So dictionary, how are we saying it? F name. Well, actually, I would say let's do first name. Like that, we'll just overwrite the value that's there. In fact, let's just dump this value. first name is equal to self dot first name dot text. We'll just keep going. Dictionary at bucket last name is equal to self dot last name. Ay, why won't it complete the one I want? Why doesn't it code the way I'm thinking instead of the way I'm typing? Dictionary at bucket street 1 is equal to self dot street 1 tf dot dictionary at bucket street 2 is equal to self dot street 2 text. Dictionary at bucket city is equal to self dot city dot text. Dictionary at bucket state is equal to self dot state dot text. And dictionary at bucket zip is equal to self dot zip dot text. All right, and we'll say ref dot set value with completion block. Value is dictionary. Completion block is going to be this guy. All right, and I need to import Firebase. And I want to give myself like a saved label. I'm going to say updated. We'll put it over here. Okay, and I'm going to give myself this guy as a outlet. Updated label. And in here, in view did load, we're going to go ahead and say updated label dot alpha is equal to 0.0, so that'll make it invisible, but it's still on the screen. And what we're going to do is when we successfully save, we'll have a kind of flash updated and then go away. We'll do a little animation. So this is our success. So if error is equal to nil, that means it was successful. If error is equal to something else, then it's not. So if it's equal to nil, then we'll go ahead and we'll say UI view animation with duration. And I want this version that has a completion block. Duration, I believe, is in seconds. Right, let's just set it equal to 0.5. And then the animations I'm going to do are self.updated label.alpha is equal to 1.0 over half of a second. And then I'll do UI view dot animate with duration. This first, oh, I don't want the completion block one. Animate with duration. That one? Yep. 0.5, and then the animations I'm going to do is self.updated label.alpha is equal to 0.0. So it'll flash on, then flash off over a total of 1 second. After we have saved. All right, so let's try that. Update, legit enough. We should now see that in Firebase, and we do. If I decide to change this at all, update it again, we reset the entire value, and there's the new value. So that appears to be doing what it's supposed to be doing. Log out will let us do that. Go back, so now we're here. So let's see. Since we have information, something we can do now, let's assume that we have a profile for each user. When they register, we can, let's see. And we could force them into creating a profile, but for right now, let's assume that we don't. When we log in as a provider and we look at something we're intending on, oh, hold on a second. We probably want to populate that guy too, right? When I go into settings, shouldn't this already have my stuff in there? So let's go ahead and do that. So in our settings thing, inside of view did load, let's say get current profile. Probably should put this in an object, but we didn't. So we won't. We're already down that path. Wouldn't take that much to pull it into an object. So let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and create a profile object. That way, if we keep coming back to the screen, we're not requesting multiple times from Firebase for updated stuff. I guess we'll have it as a dictionary, so we don't even need an object for it. We'll just have a dictionary. So let's call this guy static var user profile dictionary. This guy will be a string, we'll say string any object, but we can say string strings. That's what it's going to end up being. So it'll definitely be that. We'll start off as nil. Can I do this and start off with nil as well? Is it cool with that? Yeah, that way I don't have to. Okay, so we have our user profile dictionary. So inside of user settings, we'll ask if core dot user profile dictionary is not equal to nil, then we'll go ahead and just grab the values from there. So we'll say self dot first name text is equal to let's do let up equal core dot user profile dictionary. So we'll say user profile at bucket first name. I'll steal this for right now. Self dot last name dot text is equal to last name. Self dot street one dot text is equal to up street one. Steal it like this. Self dot street two dot text street two. Self dot city dot text is equal to city. Self dot state dot text is equal to state. Self dot zip dot text is equal to zip. That's if we already have a user profile dictionary in our singleton. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and grab it for the first time and set it. So we're going to go ahead and say let ref equal core.firebase ref.child by appending path. Just profile like that. Profile dot child by appending path core.firebase ref.uid. Oh, it's off data.uid. And then we'll say ref.observe single event of type dot value with block. Here's our snapshot. And then here's our code. All right, so we should best way to do this would be this. I'm going to go into, because I don't think it's going to let me do this. Core.user profile dictionary is equal to snapshot.value as a string. It's going to let me get away with that. We'll see if it really thinks that. So what I'll do is this. If it's equal to nil, do all this crap. Regardless, we'll go ahead and get our user profile dictionary like that. So if we have to retrieve it, go ahead and retrieve it. That should only happen the first time because we're setting it in here. There's some debate whether or not this is going to work because we technically, this guy will come in as a string any object, even though it happens to be filled with strings. So hopefully it'll do all the smart typecasting for us. Otherwise we'll have to either typecast on this side or change it on the other side. Won't be a big deal either way. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this the first time. Working theory is it should populate that stuff. It didn't like that. Well, it found nil. Core user profile. It's a little concerning why it didn't get in. Oh. This is back to our, yeah, we have to go back the way I did this before anyways. I tried to make it so that we only had to do it once, but the reality is that this guy happens asynchronously, so it's going to finish whenever it finishes, and that's when we actually want it to populate these boxes. It was nil after this was done because this guy doesn't block. We get past this line immediately. So it might take a second the very first time for us to see our data pop in, but it should pop in fairly quickly. Oh, if it's not equal to nil, do that stuff. Otherwise, retrieve it. All right, so the stuff is there. We'll update it. We'll go back. We've dismissed that, so now when we go here, it's going to go back into that page and we'll have to reload it, but it's going to be grabbing it from our cached version of it. Oh, actually, hold on. Didn't I change that to lane? It updated. Oh, but I didn't set my dictionary back. In fact, actually, down here, what I really want to do is I want to say core.user profile dictionary. We'll make this guy a pointer to that, which should then, and then we'll go and update it and then save it. So this should work. And then it'll remember it because we were never actually updating our so we'll change that to lane. We'll hit update. We'll hit back. We'll go back in here. Now it's lane. Change it back to LN. Hit update. Go back. Come back in here. Oh, it's not sticking. Does that mean it didn't come in as a pointer? I think we'd seen that one other time. Okay, so only one way to fix that. If it's not going to give me a pointer to it, then we'll just talk directly to the guy. Find dictionary. It found 12 of them. We don't want to change all of them. So we'll update the actual guy in our singleton. Now it should stick. In all of those cases, our database updated correctly. It was just the local cache that didn't. So if I change this to lane and I update, it's changed in Firebase. If I leave here and I come back in, it should still be lane. Good. If I change this back to LN and I update, it's updated the database. It's also updated locally. If I come out, go back in, it's still lane. All right, or LN. So it seems to be working now. So that means we now have user profiles that are getting updated correctly. So when will we use those user profiles? If I log out and I come back in as a provider, log in as a provider, here's some pending things. When I click on something that's pending, I should probably also see the information about where it is, and that's going to be related to the user who requested it, right? Because a service request has the user associated with it, okay? The person who requested it. So I need to go ahead and grab that user that's associated with it and look up that user's profile so I can show the information for that person on the screen. I can just build a string out of it if I want. It doesn't need to be editable or anything. So let's go ahead and do that. So this screen is, what do we call that? Like user or provider service detail or something. Provider service detail. Okay, so so here's all this stuff. Let's go ahead and give ourselves a place to drop that string. So this is service detail, this guy. All right, that's claim complete. So let's give ourselves a multi-line label. So first name, last name, street. So that's going to be 3, 4, let's say, 4 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll either even pre-populate it with some stuff. So we'll say first name, last name. Oh, I need to text edit. F name. Let's just put my name in there. And Lane, Grafton, Wisconsin. Something like that. So that might be a sample of what this guy looks like. So let's just paste all that stuff in there. There we go. And we're going to make it wider. And then we're going to drop that guy right there. And it should adjust based on what's in there. So that's going to be the address of it. So let's also give us a label. Address. And we'll set this guy's font to heavy. Make it big enough. Slide that out. I'm going to need that actually. Center it. Drop this guy right there. Let's call that good enough. Then we need to have our address. Go ahead and fix the auto layout. Update constraints. We want to get this address label placed in our provider service detail. Address label like this. All right, and then we will go into service detail, and while we're setting up all this stuff with our request, let's go ahead and since we require we know there'll be a user associated with it, right? So get the profile of the user so we can store the address or show the address. So we'll say let ref equal, actually let's start off with this, let UID equal request dot user. Okay, you know what we can do? I think this could be a, let's go into our service requests here. When we say var address is a string that starts off being equal to, that actually might not be the best idea in the world. We'll just do it in place. Alright, so we'll say let UID equal request, oh, we already have it inside request. Let ref equal core.firebase ref.child by appending path profile dot child by appending path request dot UI request dot user. Do we not even store that? Service request. Oh, we call it user. Oh, it just decided it won't autocomplete it. It's very nice. And then we'll say ref.observe single event of type. And this will actually be a technically could observe an event, child added, or actually child what changed, and do I not have Firebase in here? So what child added gets called the very first time anyways, right? So now if a provider is logged in and they're considering accepting a something, and a user is logged in and they change their address, which seems probably unlikely, this would update in real time. Yeah, it's probably just using extra system resources that we don't actually have to use. So let's just observe the single event and be done with it. Dot value with block snapshot here. Okay, and we'll go ahead and have snapshot dot value. So let's do let profile equal snapshot dot value as string. That should work. And then we'll go ahead and say let address equal, that'll be first name, last name, street 1, street 2, and then city, comma, state, space, zip. Profile, first underscore name, like this. Profile, last underscore name. Profile, street 1. Profile, street 2. Profile, city. State. And zip. So that's what the address string will be. Then we'll say self.addressLabel.text is equal to address. And that should fill in the address for a provider as they are browsing a... How come like such a high percentage of cups from the cafeteria are... Yeah.
Are we positive it wasn't the shakes?
No, I'm positive because my phone was wet before from being here. Well, I say wet; it was actually floating. Ruh-roh. Let's stop it here. Yeah, so I'm checking. Here's a request. Where's request? Right here. Oh, it's nil. Why is it nil? The rest of the stuff wasn't.
You set the value of the request.
It must have been before. But the funny thing is the rest of the stuff was working. So it's almost like it's a race condition thing where it's getting here and trying to do this stuff before request is actually set. I mean, we could probably fix it if we just do did appear. Oh, I need to take the optionals off of that. Hey. All right, so now we have, well, that probably shouldn't be editable, but it does bug me that Firebase does not appear to have a way of doing a synchronous call. You know, like, well, so in parse, for example, when I used to use parse.com.
As opposed to an asynchronous.
Right. Yeah. So in parse.
I mean, you can use its RESTful API, but that's not built into the framework, as far as I'm concerned. So.
Well, it's RESTful API actually that would be fine for doing that. That would fix some of the problems.
Can't you can do stuff with closures that will make it less annoying?
Not really, because since it doesn't block. So the idea here is that with an older platform I used to use for database called parse.com, you know, by default, when you requested data, it happened asynchronously. You would say, hey, I want the data. When you have it, let me know, and I'll do something with it. But you would move on with life. The app would keep going, which means that if you did something down here, if you requested the data here and you did something down here that was reliant on that data, you probably didn't want to do this asynchronously. You probably wanted to do this synchronously so it would block us from getting to here until this was actually complete. Well, so with parse, you had the option. You would say, okay, I'm going to do this synchronously because that's the right thing to do in the moment. With Firebase, through their API, I have not, it's possible that you can, but I haven't discovered how. You can't do a synchronous call. You can't say, download the, get the user's profile, and I'll wait. I'll get it, and I'll wait for the data to be available, and then I'll move on with life. Because at this point in time, we really needed it. So even this makes me a little nervous, because what did we do here to get this working? We just moved it into view did appear instead of view will appear, which just gave us a little bit extra time for it to finish loading. So it's still a race condition. In fact, I bet if...
Where are you setting?
Yeah, I think it's probably on the previous page when we click on this. This is on provider service list.
That's before present, though. That should still...
Well, not if it was cooking. So, hold on, let's see. Request is... No, that can't be that request. This is a different... So this is pending provider service details as, so we set request. Oh, request is going to be one of the dudes up here. So he's from these observe events. This guy. So we keep updating our, our table view as new stuff came in. So the idea is that I wouldn't be able to click on it. Well, actually, that's interesting.
It should have request as a initialized service request object.
Well, I guess what's interesting about it is it would not be in the table view if it wasn't already done.
Correct, yeah.
So why then, let's break this again. Let's put this in, let's put this back in view will appear, which happens at an earlier point in time than view did appear. Well, it's up here as a, and we're setting it our way into this thing. So it really should be available in view did load. There isn't a great reason for it not to be available in view did load. In fact, I think the reason we have it in view will appear is for this exact same problem. But the issue here is that if I'm on this screen, log back in, I shouldn't see this unless it already has the request. This guy was pulled from that request data. When I see lawn 20, that was pulled from the request data. So when I hit this, that's funny. Work. All right, so let's take this to the.
I wonder if it's a is it like
There's not a good reason why I shouldn't be able to put this in view did load.
I basically have done that hundreds of times on my senior seminar project and this thing, where I'm grabbing something from Firebase, and then I basically pass it to my next view controller, and I've literally never run into a case condition.
Yeah, so why would, so this is working fine. So we didn't need to be in view will appear. I just put it back in view did load.
I feel like you would have noticed if it didn't load that stuff when you clicked it either. So.
It's just interesting. But you saw an error before. And when we looked at it, it was because request was a nil value.
And even that would indicate that it hadn't even been initialized or anything. That doesn't even.
Which shouldn't be able to. That shouldn't be able to happen.
Ever happen? Yeah.
I wonder if it was like one of the things I fixed in your code earlier when it was like built funny and just the emulator was in a weird state or something like that. All right, so in any case, let's just assume this guy works perfectly and will never crash. It's a good assumption, I think, for all of our code. All right, so if I'm the provider, here's the type of service. I probably don't need to see whether it was completed. So we can probably take that off, because if I go into incomplete, it's just showing the same stuff. And then for complete, all right, so I don't really need to show completed on there. That's actually kind of dumb. So that's this guy right here. Get rid of that stack. And then we can get rid of go back in here. So this is our completed value label, which should cause an error down below. We no longer are setting that. Okay. I should probably just drink this water faster. Well, I had to get some of the sand off. I told you. What's that? It's like, don't judge me. All right, so now we go in here and it just crashes. And so this guy's going to say it's ref is nil.
Okay, well that would be slightly
Oh, actually, no, ref was nil for a different reason. So we haven't done ref yet. So, yeah, request is nil.
But okay, that I guess I would ignore that, fix the ref, and then see what happens.
Well, no, the ref shouldn't be nil. None of this should be nil.
No, it's because you're trying to use request.user.
Right.
And it's saying that that's null.
Yeah, so it's still from request.
Okay, yeah, just kidding. That's the same thing.
So let's. I'll let it relax for a second, and we'll click on it. Isn't that funny?
Can you even have anything?
I clicked it.
Try clicking something other than the first one.
Okay. And so let's try to go up here. We'll clean. We'll run it again.
Hundreds of times. I've never had no problem.
It's like stuff is pooling.
Oh, it's not falling down the table?
I always like to leave my laptop in those places. You know, there's standing water. Wait, hold on. My charger's not charging. All right, we're good. Oh.
It is not.
Yeah, it was. I just did a clean and rebuilt it. All right, so we have the type, we have the cost.
Try to run it again.
Huh?
Try to run it again.
Well, it should be fine now because I did a clean, so it should. Whatever it was messed up, which I'm guessing is some sort of like internal consistency thing with Firebase. Okay, so that looks fine. So when I claim something, I'm claiming it on, I'm saying, okay, yeah, I'm good with that address and the service. So now that goes into, was it this one? I think it was this one. This person needs a whole lot of work done.
Spends a lot of money on it too.
Oh, and that cost is, we need to update the cost to be the actual dollar amount, right?
Wait, it was. It was. It is. That's right. That's the one we changed. And we just kept adding zeros too.
No, because it says 5,000 for 5 cars.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the cost
Should
is
be
right.
5,000.
But actually,
But the cost is right in the other thing. Oh, that's because are you taking it from the database there and not dividing?
yeah, but actually, what shouldn't we be showing the provider what their cut will be,
Clever.
not what the collected cost is? So we should show the provider the what did we say that the
20%.
yeah and let's put that in the in core so we can just update it in one place if we ever change it. So let's do static var provider cut is equal to 0.2 for 20%. Fair enough. So we need to take the cost, divide it by 100, multiplied by, well, actually, hold on. Provider's not getting 20%, 80%. Yeah, and then so we'll do cost divided by 100 times provider cut, and that should give us their offer, right? So we'll call that offer. Go back in here. So this isn't cost. This is offer, and just for the sake of correctness, let's call this offer value label. All right, and then we'll disconnect and reconnect since that guy's gone, and here's our offer value label right there. Go back in here. So offer value label is cost divided by 100 times core dot provider cut. Oh, it doesn't. It's just completely stupid. So this guy's coming out as an integer, so we need to convert it to a double before we can divide it. Swift couldn't have decided that that's kind of what we wanted. It's dumb. Okay. And really, what we're putting in the offer value label, we should have a $sign before that, right? Maybe a bunch of $signs. Here's your money. Did I do something funny? No. Because I want to know. Yeah, there's the offer, $96. So we probably want the same thing to be. Oh yeah, because we. we're truncating. I mean, is it possible for us to have? Well, yeah, we could have decimal places, right?
Can't you do a substring on it, or like? Oh no, you can do string.insert, and then you can add a decimal point at the length of it minus.
Just
2.
add a 0 at the end of it.
But would it always be a 0 at the end?
No.
Will we always get like a 96.25 or something?
You have to, if your rates always stay the same, it'll always be a 0 at the end. But if you feel comfortable assuming that your rates always stay the same, then you should just append a 0 at the end. Or you can just insert the decimal at index length minus 2.
Insert the decimal. The decimal's already there. What do you mean?
How it is, but you can, instead of making it a float and dividing it, you can leave it as a string
I
and
gotcha.
insert in the character. Right?
So don't divide by 100.
Correct.
Just do the multiplication, then move it over.
Dude, it isn't a multiplication. Just literally add a decimal character.
Well, we still need to multiply by 0.8
by 0.8.
for the provider cut.
Oh, that thing. Okay, yeah. So I guess in that case.
Yeah, I don't think that solves anything. I think we should just leave it for. It's correct right now, even though it's weird.
I wonder, but if it was like a 0.1, would it add the 0 at the end of that?
I doubt it.
Change provider cut to like 0.15 or something. 0.12.
Okay.
So it'd be
Provider cut is
0.82.
789. I think 789.
Should give you a weird number.
Actually, what if I did this? What if I do 0.80? I wonder if it.
It just keeps the decimal points.
I wonder if it reflects it based on the number of decimal points I provided. Nope. No, just leave it.
0.799. Close enough to 80%. It's like gas. They're reading 79.
Yeah, what's going to end up happening is we're probably going to lose a penny in the.
Oh.
That's it. We're good. All right. So let's keep going down the rabbit hole here. We need a provider settings, right? So we can put a settings thing over here for the provider. For provider settings, we need the information that's going to be required for paying them out.
Also like a phone number. If you think that maybe the user could call them if it didn't get done.
But if we're thinking about payment stuff for the moment, what is so the question is, how do we pay them out? Does Stripe? Do we figure out how Stripe does payouts? So Stripe payout. Send payouts with Stripe. What do we need to calculate? Okay, so we can collect bank information through Stripe.
So basically what you do is you create a recipient, and then you transfer that to them.
All right, so we can have country currency. We need to store.
I don't necessarily know if you want to store it though, do you?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we need to capture that information from our.
Capture it and store it in a token.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because it's going to return you.
Can we store the token?
Yes. Because that token should.
Is the token good forever?
I don't know. Scroll up. It says single-use token. So I wonder if they have one for multi-use.
I mean, otherwise.
You can transfer to a debit card too.
I think bank account's going to seem more normal, won't it?
But I mean, you'd think debit card's basically the same thing.
Well, hold on. Is routing number and account number really that?
Necessary?
Well, I get.
Those two things, they're very sensitive. Because if you think,
Are they really? I mean, you can look at somebody's paper check and
get both of them.
those pieces of information, and you're not able to cash that check unless it was made out to you.
Yes, but like if you were to go to like Acorns or whatever, if you had both of those things, you could add that to their account. I mean, to your Acorns account, and then
For payouts.
No, to get paid. I mean, to take money from their account.
I don't think so, because I think doesn't the way it works is you have to come back in. Most of those places, they put a small deposit into your account, and then you have to come back in and verify your bank account saying, oh yeah, you put 3 cents and 8 cents into my account. Those are the two verification amounts you put in. So I'm proving that I have access to that account. So I don't think that routing number and account number are in and of themselves that sensitive. I mean, I think the only thing it would let somebody do without your approval is give you money. Which, I mean, I think everybody's okay with that, right? I mean, I think you could probably transfer money into an account with a routing number and account number. And I think you're going to get very few complaints if you just get new money. So it seems like we should be able to store a routing number and an account number. And then maybe what we can do is we can associate that. Let's see, we probably need the account holder name. So we can store these.
Which should be their name that they put in.
Well, but what if the account holder name probably needs to match identically to what's on your account?
Yeah.
So, for instance, I go by Mike, but maybe my bank account, it's Michael. And if I'm at the bank and I put Mike down on something, not a big deal. But if they're electronically validating something, it might need to match identically. So it seems like our profile thing for a provider should capture I'm assuming currency is US dollars. So, and this is only going to work in the US, so I think we can assume US and US dollars. So we need to store routing number, account number, holder name, and type can be individual or company, so we can give them a toggle for that. I think we should store that stuff for payouts. And then we could also store their phone number. And then probably, I guess, well, you said it can't be their first name. We don't have their name. The provider doesn't have a profile, so they don't even have a name. So we probably want to capture all the same stuff we had for a user plus this additional information because these guys are receiving payouts. That makes sense? Okay. So let's do this then. she's going to steal their entire interface. And then we'll update it. Provider settings. We'll move the provider. Oh, actually, let's just put the provider's logout button over here. Oh, not logout. Well, what's it called? Settings icon. Make it 30 by 30. Take the word button off of it. Throw it up here. Scroll this guy back up. Very good. And we'll make this guy go to this guy. Okay. That's provider settings. Then we'll have, let's give ourselves all the outlets from the other guy so we could hook that up. So this is let's user settings VC. So we're going to do provider settings VC. All right, so there's that label. Okay, and then we're also going to need to capture this is going to be for first name and last name. Let's have it match. Oh, they might have a bank account that maybe has like a parent's name on it or something like that. They're transferring stuff, so we probably want to have a different text box for name on bank account. So let's do that. So we'll say name on bank account TF. Then we'll have routing number TF. And we'll have account number TF. And then it takes the type is going to be individual or company. So that's going to be some segments. IB, actually, let's just go with this. Oop. Account type segments. UI segmented control. Look for that. Okay.
We could store their recipient ID.
But that's if they have an account on Stripe rather. I would assume so.
You create the recipient.
I think for at least a testing case, this will get them paid. And then if we decide it needs to be more secure, then I really think it's only risking them, somebody sending them money, not taking money from them. Okay. So we have that stuff. So we need to do bank name, routing, account, and then some segments. And this is provider settings. It's this guy. So let's take zip 2, 3. So this is name on bank account. This is routing number. This is account number. And then we have some segments. And this will be individual. And this will be, oh, did that not save? Individual. And then this will be company, individual or company. Okay, and then we'll throw a label on top of that. Account type. Center that. Okay. Let's say fair enough. Add missing constraints. Update existing constraints. Let's hook everything up now. Account number. Account type segments. City TF. Error TV. First name TF. Last name TF. Name on bank account. Routing number. State. Street 1. Street 2. Updated label. Zip. Okay, and then Firebase logout is this one. Cancel button is this one. And then we need to build in our update button with our form validation so we can steal a lot of the form validation. Steal all that actually. Here, go into provider settings. Put that here. And then we'll close that, close that. First name, last name, all that stuff should be the same. Else, this is what? Name on bank account TF. Enter the name as it appears on your bank account. And then we have account number TF. enter bank account number to receive payouts. Routing number. You must enter a routing number to receive payouts. There's our error message, otherwise we're fine there. Okay, so that's provider settings. Once the form is validated, then we can go ahead and save. And we can steal most of the save from our user settings. We just need to add a couple of other little things in there. Should add right there. Alright, so we're going to add name on bank account. Then routing number.
Why is it indented like that?
Because it's too long, it'll go back if I go like that. So let me go back here. So that's routing number. This is account number. Okay. Anything else I'm missing? So routing number, account number. Oh, then I also have to have holder type. Let's see, var holder. Let's do account type. Account type is equal to individual if self dot account type segments dot selected segment index is equal to 1, account type is equal to company. Now I can say account underscore type is equal to account type. Like that, and we need to import Firebase. Account type. Okay, I think that should be fine. All right. So let's make sure it saves first. And then we'll go back and have it load. All right, so I gotta go to my settings. Sometimes when you use a fake button, like we've been using buttons to get the right picture, when you hook it up using the control drag thing, it thinks you're choosing the action for the bar button item, but you're not actually clicking the bar button item. What's here is an actual button, so I had to just connect the button's action up to it instead of the bar button item. Because when I click, it doesn't actually go to the action. Okay, so this guy looks like this. So if I hit, what's up?
Updated.
Oh, I need to hide that.
Oh, is that for when they click it?
Yeah,
No.
I need to do these two things. Okay, so if I try to update now, we should get an error message. But I never hooked up the update button here. There we go. So it should yell at me, no first name. So all right, we'll go ahead. We probably shouldn't put a different person in here. We'll do my wife. She's probably a snowplow operator. Bank account 1 2 3 4 5, routing number 789. Oh, hold on. What was this guy? That was the name on the account, right? And it's going to be an individual account. We probably need to put this guy in a scroll view because I had to just manually hide the keyboard in order to hit the update button. Actually, let's make sure that the new tests down here work. So this should yell about bank number. Okay. This should yell about routing number, or at least an account number. That's fine. And this is yelling about routing number. Okay. I was pretty upset about some stuff there. Oh, because we're not updating the user profile thing. We need to finish doing the view did or the view did load part of this. Then it'll work. So let's just steal that code. Self dot name on bank account dot text is equal to up at bucket name. Here, what did I call it exactly down here? That. Okay. Self dot routing number dot text is equal to up Add bucket routing underscore number. Make sure I called it that. And then account number, and then account type. Self dot account number tf dot text is equal to up at bucket account number, and then let actually, let us do this. Segment should already be at 0. We'll just say if up at bucket account type is equal to company self dot account type segments dot selected index is equal to 1. So we'll flip it over. The default should be bucket 0. We'll flip it to 1 if needed. Let me steal all that. Actually, I pretty much just need to steal the new stuff. Else, let's get the new stuff and read all the things in. Okay, but right now, we need to just ask the question in here because we didn't run into this error before. We'll just need to create a blank if snapshot is nil. Because what's going to end up happening here, let's just see what the number is, what the value comes in at. I'll stop us right here. Because our snapshot is actually going to be null. And we're not going to be able to do anything with it. At least I think that's what it's going to come back as. And then we're going to start trying to do text field stuff. Okay, go to settings, and there's snapshot. Okay, snapshot has stuff in it. So let's print snapshot here. Run it again, because this person does not have a profile. So we're making some assumptions of what we received back. So let's see what it prints as. Yeah, it's null. So what we need to do is just ask the question here. If snapshot dot value is ns null, that's the testing thing for it. If that's a true statement, then we're going to say core dot user blah 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 is equal to a string like that, just an empty one. Else, let's do real stuff. I don't think so. Snapshot, if it's bad, set core user profile to just an empty one. We'll save it when we get down to saving. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and load it, which should then allow us to do this. And just so we don't forget, we need to do the exact same thing in our user. Let's just make sure it works here real quick. I know we're out of time, but let's just make sure we leave this thing in a stable state. Okay. So we should get into the code here. So I'll just run that. All right. So
what did that do exactly?
this asks if the snapshot that came back of the value was nothing, meaning there wasn't a real value there. Let's just go ahead and create an empty dictionary to store up in our singleton so that if we choose to save on this page, it'll go ahead and save rather than reading data from something that doesn't exist. So let's just test this real quick. So I'll put in one back account. Routing number is 789.126. And it's going to be an individual. That should have saved. Let's check Firebase real quick. Here's that dude with their account number crap. Fine. And then the very last thing is let's just add that the snapshot code here to the user settings page. Right here. Then we'll have our else. Do that there. Do that here. And then re-indent. Okay. So we should, I think, be in good shape. Let's go ahead and commit this. Class 5216, push to remotes. It says push to remotes. I think we only have one of them. It's just linked to two. It's possible, but my experience has been that has failed.
Oh, if you put just your username in?
Yeah, I have a really old account with GitHub, so I think it might be stored credentially different. All right, so like I said, for next week, we'll spend the first couple of hours, everybody presenting their current state of their project. We'll have, you can put it up on the projector if you want to hook up your laptop or something like that. We'll see how that goes. And then I think what I'll do, for if you want to take off, you can, because the class will be over after next week. But I think I'll stay an extra 2 hours and let's finish this so that it actually can process payment. So if you're interested in seeing that through, stay for a couple hours and keep me company. That way we at least can deliver a working prototype that has payouts and everything, because I think we're pretty close to that, right? I don't know if it'll take 2 hours, but whatever, I think that'll get us all the way home with the app. All right, so I will see everybody on Monday.
So basically the point is just make it as far as you can.
Yeah, that's it. I would say, yeah, okay, so let's say that for sure. So bring your application up to date with this in terms of processing the payments and all that stuff, and then any last little things you need to put together, because there's going to be 2 grades here. One grade will be your the homework assignment grade, and then the final exam. I don't remember. Is the final exam grade list the final? Does the syllabus list the final exam grade as being a different percentage? Okay, I don't think it did. So I think we'll just count it as another homework assignment. So bottom line is you'll have a homework assignment that is due next week. That is bring your thing up to date as much as you can, and then you'll have your presentation that will count as another homework assignment. Make sense? All right, I will see everybody next week.